Welcome to another Todd's
2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday.
Brought to you by the National RV Training Academy, the largest hands-on RV training academy in America. Hey, before we get to the video, which I know this is the reason why you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Now, back to our Tech Tip Tuesday. Hey, you may be noticing because it's so darn cold outside, your absorption-style refrigerator is not performing very well. Let's go over that. Now, I will say that I actually had to be taught this, right? I actually had a student kind of go over this with me, so I'm not going to say that I came up with this, but you may notice that with your absorption-style refrigerator, in the cold weather like it is today, it's 20 degrees outside, you'll notice that the food in the refrigerator seems to be doing fine, but the freezer seems to be warmer than it normally is. Let's explain why. Well, here's how this works. On an absorption-style refrigerator, you only have one thermostat, and that thermostat is in the refrigerator, not in the freezer. This is different than, say, your standard residential-style refrigerator that has two different thermostats. So, two different thermostats may call for cooling cycle for the freezer, not necessarily the refrigerator, or for the refrigerator and not necessarily the freezer. But our absorption-style refrigerators in the RV, if you have one of those, you got one thermostat, and that is in the refrigerator. Well, the reason why the refrigerator seems to be doing great when it's cold outside is because there's no heat pounding on that refrigerator. Inside, the refrigerator is cold, right? The temperature inside the refrigerator is cold. The reason why your refrigerator cycles, turns on and turns on over time, is because outside heat's running to cold, warms it back up so it turns back on. If the temperature outside is 20 degrees and the temperature inside the refrigerator is, say, 34 degrees, then the temperature inside the refrigerator is completely happy. But let's talk about the freezer. The freezer is dependent upon the refrigerator. The freezer needs to be at 10 degrees, 5 degrees, maybe 0 degrees. And it's dependent on the refrigerator cycling. Well, if the refrigerator never cycles, because it's nice and cool on the inside, outside there's no heat point pounding on it, then the freezer begins to elevate in temperature. And that's kind of the problem. So this is what we do. First off, move south. Now, take care of that. Do what you can, of course, to warm up the RV. Try and keep as much of the refrigerator as warm as possible, okay? It's kind of hard because you also have vents on the outside, and that's where it gets really cold as well. So the back wall is going to be really cold. You have to overcome that. A couple things that you can do from time to time is you can force the refrigerator into a cooling cycle. Well, how do you do that? Okay, real simple. Open the refrigerator door. When you open the refrigerator door, heat is running in there, okay? Just give it a minute or two, okay? That'll kind of elevate that temperature on the inside. Say if you have your furnace on or something like that, okay? You don't want to overly heat it up, right? But you want to bring that temperature up just enough to tell the refrigerator to go into cooling cycle. Now, the problem is, I know that if you're standing there, in a particular spot and it's cool for weeks, man, that seems like a difficult thing, right? Because you're always having to do that. We have to apply heat to the refrigerator, around the refrigerator. And the problem is it's in the wall, okay? One thing that you can do during super cold temperatures is to cut back on the venting, right? Some of that area. Now, you can't cut it all off. Listen to me when I say that. You can't cut it all off. It needs airflow. But if we can limit that some, right? Try and keep those coils a little bit warmer. That will help out, right? It's really not a great situation. You just learned that. Now, one thing you can also do is have an ice chest. Keep more food in the freezer, frozen hard as much as possible. That will help prolong it from elevating in temperature. But just understand that because of the cold temperatures outside, the refrigerator is what freezes the freezer, right? When the refrigerator turns on. If the refrigerator is happy, the freezer won't turn on. If you're going to be there for an extended amount of time, you're not always going to open that door. Okay, that's kind of a quick fix just to turn it on. But when you're sleeping at night and everything else. So the only other thing that you can do is make sure that you either take the food out, maybe put it in an ice chest. We kind of keep that because an ice chest typically has a little bit more insulation, especially if you get one of the newer ones. or if you put more solid frozen food up in the freezer, okay? Where this is going to be hard is ice. Ice will melt quicker than everything else, but your solid food, hamburger meat, a turkey ball, or whatever, you throw that up there, that's a big solid mass that will help keep everything else frozen. It's the ice. Really, that's what's going to melt first, okay? Ice cream, okay? Now, if you're sticking ice cream in the freezer, I'm going to call you a quitter, right? If it's cold outside, you see the ice cream's getting all, melted, freaking eat it, okay? Eat the freaking ice cream and be happy, right? Sit by the fireplace, eat the ice cream, okay? Let all the solid food stay solid, right? You may not have ice. That's really what you can do for a long-term situation. If you have any thoughts, for those of you that live up north, can't quite figure out that, hey, it's warmer down here, you may have some ideas as well. So go ahead and put those in the chat. Tell us what you do to stay warm. There's your tech tip. All right, before you get to the bloopers, which is why you're here in the first place, the RV industry needs thousands of RV technicians and inspectors, and now is the perfect time to do that. If you want to make more money or have more control over your time, go ahead and click the link below. Or if you just want to learn how to fix your own RV, got something for you there. Head over to rvtechcourse.com and get started today. Now for the reason that you're at the end of the video, roll the bloopers. Bam. What's there? There's going to be no mess ups. I did it right. No.